Hey friends, happy Thursday. I'm just doing another car live, which is my usual. If you've been following me more than just a little bit, you know that this is my time that I like to go live. I don't have my kiddo. I'm at work. I have an extended lunch break. So I like to come on here. I like make the most of my free time and come hang out, get to know some of you. Let you all get to know me a little bit. Obviously, I always forget to charge my phone before I come out here. So, unfortunately, I've got TikTok over here. So, it's a little bit weird. I'll be looking back and forth. But yeah, I'm just here to hang out for the next hour or so. Hey, Kat, welcome in. Do the usual, hang out, talk about whatever comes up. You can feel free to ask me anything. Obviously, most of the time, these do tend to be a little bit more abuse related. We'll talk about some of the things that some of you are processing and going through and trying to understand a little bit more. You can ask me about some content that you've seen of mine if you want some clarification on that. Or we can talk about other things. Pretty much anything is on the table. So as long as you're respectful, I am comfortable. Pretty much an open book. I've been sharing about my life for, I think I made my Instagram in January of 2020, like right before COVID hit. And so I was sharing all through that. And then, of course, have been sharing about abuse for a little bit over a year. So, yes, absolutely. I'm here for you. Ask me anything. If you're new here, I'm a certified trauma recovery coach. So, that is what I do. And also, yeah, I'm a human. So, anything is fair game. Before we begin, yes, February. Okay, thank you. Before we begin, a little announcement. I am hosting our second session of the LGBTQ plus survivor support group this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'm hosting that with Trey De La Torre, who is also queer. We were both abused in our first queer relationship. And so we got to talking. We met in Austin, Texas in October of last year, and we got to talking and realized how similar our stories were. Hi, Lovely, and hi, Tate. And we decided that we wanted to offer a safe space for queer folks to be able to get together to talk and to sort of work through some things that we work through with everyone, with all abuse survivors across the board, but also to add those extra layers that are a little bit more queer specific. And to just have that safe space for people to come in and share without wondering if anyone in the group is judging them for who they were with, or who they are with, and things like that. So definitely keep that in mind if that is something that might be helpful for you or for a friend or a family member if you know someone who might be interested in that kind of support. Other than that, feel free to ask me anything. I'm very tired today. Kind of a rough week and haven't been sleeping very well. And I did just fall asleep at work for the first time in my life. I passed out like just on the desk like this, and it was probably only for like 10 minutes, but my client just let me sleep, and I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for everything you do for victims of abuse. Oops. Thank you so much. I never stop appreciating that. I don't expect thanks or anything like that, but it really means a lot to me when people do tell me that my goodness, that my content means something to them. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And welcome in. Hi, hello, welcome in. Hi, everybody on TikTok. Feel free to say hello. You can ask me anything if there's something that you're struggling with, or if you don't want to talk about abuse and you just want to know something about me in general. Again, that's what I'm here for, is so that you all get to know me a little bit more and what I'm about, rather than just seeing my content as it pops up on your feed. So, hello, welcome in. Hi from DC. Welcome in. Yeah, y'all can always tell me where you're from. I am an avid traveler, so sometimes I get to connect with people that way. It is hard for victims to speak out without being ridiculed a lot. That was my experience anyway. Yes, you're right. This is a major problem in our society, where the people who speak out against abuse are like the squeaky wheel problems, and everyone else is good. Like, we're all just sort of taught to keep our heads down and to not stir the pot, and to just like, yeah, something bad happened to you, but like bad things happen to everybody and it's not that big of a deal and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's a very big problem. And, there's a lot of reasons why I do what I do and continue to talk about this, even though sometimes I would just rather not. Like, there's so many other things that I enjoy and would rather talk about. But it's a huge problem. And I do like to raise awareness of that problem and how big that problem is in our society. So you only date women. Actually, I don't date anybody, but thanks for asking. I've enjoyed following you. Thank you. But yeah, definitely no men. Yeah. Anyway, custody issues allow continued abuse by and through the court orders, and the courts order gag orders on abuse in the courts here in New Hampshire. Yeah, that's a huge issue. That's definitely a huge issue. The legal system, the court system, and like even like with first responders, law enforcement, things like that, they're just not set up to help people out in these situations at all. So yeah, it's definitely an issue. Or having it used against them in the state of New Hampshire for sure. Yeah, it's just another tool that keeps people silent, and it keeps people able to continue abusing. Because if you are an abusive person and someone tries to hold you accountable and nothing happens, you even go through the court system, and the court system enables you to keep abusing people, you should keep doing it. No one's actually holding you accountable. Someone is trying, right? We're trying, but no one's listening and no one cares. Or it seems like no one cares. I care. Lots of us do care. And we hear each other and we see each other and we want to support each other. Obviously, I'm not a judge and I can't come and fix, if only we could all just fix each other's problems like that. But it's a huge issue for sure. She used to be married. I did used to be married. And just for anyone who's new here, my ex husband, my son's dad, is not my abuser. I was abused in the relationship after my marriage ended. That is one of the most frequently asked questions I get, because a lot of people who have kids want to know how I deal with custody issues with my son, but I don't, because I was able to luckily just get him away from them and keep him away from them because they had no legal right to him. So I found an attorney in New Hampshire finally, but the abuse is getting worse day by day. They went to the point of saying I cannot have a GoFundMe for legal fees. I have to seek an order Monday of protection for stalking by my ex's girlfriend and TikTok, and harassment of what she's doing. This seems like a safe place for me. Is that legal? I'm not a lawyer. Hi, lesbian plant dad. Hey friend, hope you're well. I'm doing okay, thanks. How are you? Is it legal to tell someone that they can't have a GoFundMe? I feel like anyone could just have a GoFundMe, right? That's so weird. I'm sorry that that's happening to you. Dating is not fun. Yeah, I don't date. I choose not to. I have zero interest in it. I've been single for a little over a year, and but I have met people, and I am shocked by. I'm not saying that everyone is bad, but the kinds of people who are in the dating pool, a lot of times it's a little bit scary. And then just hearing stories from people who are dating, it's just damn. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, a little bit off topic for my usual, but let's do that. Okay, hang on 1 second here. Courts provide free attorneys. Yes, but that doesn't always help. It doesn't always help. Like you would think it would. Because the odds are still usually stacked, unfortunately. Lindsay, can we talk about how we need metal detectors in our schools I don't know how to pronounce that, in North Carolina, and that bullying is abuse, and the school board chair has bullied not only his fellow board members, but also the people who voted for him. We have floated guns being found on our campuses in random searches, and we had a stabbing death happen on the first day of school. What the hell? I took a casket to a school board meeting last week to donate to the next victim of school violence here. That is bold. Good job. That's freaking wild. My son's only 5, but he's homeschooled, and this is why. I've watched you for a bit now and definitely enjoy this page and your words. Thank you so much. Yes, I agree. And I say all that to say that abuse doesn't just happen in relationships. It can happen anywhere, even places you should feel safe. And that's Onslow. Thank you. That's a very valid point. We are growing up in a country that, or we are like raising kids in a country that is, and I don't want to get political here. I don't talk about politics or anything publicly usually. Sometimes I'll tweet about it or retweet about it. But the fact that our kids are not safe to go to school, and the kids should be the most protected humans in the world. Like everyone should feel safe. Everyone should feel they can walk into a store or a church or whatever building, but especially a school, especially where those babies are, like those are the future. They should be protected. And that anyone has any kickback whatsoever, it's a mess. And my child is homeschooled, and his dad would like him to go to a regular school, and I will fight to the death because I don't trust our, I don't. We still don't have clear backpacks. Yeah, because people, especially, I mean, there's certain places that it's worse than others, but they don't really care. They really don't. Yeah, restraining order, get away from that man. And Kat, thank you for saying that. I agree with you. A restraining order is just a piece of paper, doesn't stop the person from harming you. I totally agree. I once had a restraining order on someone when I was 18, and it didn't keep them from contacting me. It didn't keep them from doing anything. So, unfortunately, yes, it's just a piece of paper. And like, what are you going to do? Like, throw it at them when they're like coming up to you? You're just going to like, and then it saves you? It doesn't. I mean, it could. There's a small chance that that person is like, oh, okay, she's serious. She got a restraining order. She got the police involved. I'm going to stay away from her and just find someone else to mess with. But it could just make them even more angry. So not always an answer. And that is a really good, it's a good example of, like, I'm not trying to call this person out, but a lot of times people, you know, when survivors are out here talking about some of the issues that we're having, a lot of times people will just say things like, we'll just leave, just get a restraining order, just do this, just do that. And a lot of times, unfortunately, that's just not helpful because that's not the reality of the situation when you're dealing with an abusive person. My ex strangled me with an order, but she's stalking me and all my friends online with messages, and I hope to stop all of it that way. Yeah. And that's another thing, is that online, like digital abuse is a huge added issue that we didn't have, you know, however many years ago. Like if you could get far enough away from that person, like maybe you'd be feeling okay. But nowadays, like it's so easy to have access to people unless you like live on a log and like don't have a phone and don't have any social media accounts and don't have like texting service or something. I don't know, because you can always have burner phones and you can always, like, I think there's like websites where you can like make up fake numbers and text people from websites. And so if someone wants access to you, they're just going to. Definitely a case by case basis as to whether it's worth having one. Yes, for sure. What state are you in? I'm in Washington State, and I actually live in a town that's pretty safe, typically. And I was thinking that the schools here would be really safe and good, but I just had to hire new childcare because my childcare provider, since my son was 2, is moving too far away to really realistically come anymore. And she went to school in town, and we were talking about schools and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, we just had a lockdown like a couple months ago, and you know, this happened, and there was like a bomb threat and all this stuff, and that there was like a kid at the school who was over 18 who was doing things to younger women and, you know, younger girls and stuff like that, and that like nothing was done about it. And I was like, okay, so tell me where my child is going to be safe. Tell me where he's not. I mean, obviously we can't protect our kids from everything, but there are certain things that parents shouldn't even have to think about. And unfortunately, that's what we are having to do right now in this country. Hello from Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome in. How are you doing? Yes, if you're a hermit, she's got 6 accounts according to what she said in an IEP meeting. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Hello from Boonville, Kentucky. Wow, that's a fun name for a town, Boonville. It sounds very Kentucky. The threats that they are calling a hoax are terrifying. It's nationwide, but they're at school. We shouldn't have to be afraid. Yeah, no child should ever have to even like the fact that they go to school and like kindergartners, like on their first day of school, are doing these drills and then coming home and like a lot of them don't have support in terms of being able to ask questions about what it means and why. And, is this going to happen to me? They're just going home and like, I had someone tell me that like their child, um, came home from school and was like, sorry, TikTok, was like acting funny. And finally the parent was able to like talk to the child. I can't remember if it was their child or they were babysitting or what. And finally the child was like, well, we had this drill at school and now this is all I can think about. Because then after they have the drill, it's like, all right, well, now you guys got to learn. So now that we've told you that, this is the active shooter drill, this is something that can happen and you need to take it seriously. But now come over here and sit down and learn some math. And then again, like they go home and a lot of the parents are not aware that that's happening or don't have the skills to be able to have those conversations with them. Yeah, not good. The drills make me so sad, and there's so much fear and anxiety in kiddos now. I agree. It's very sad. It's not okay. Where are you from? I am from Indiana, and I live in Washington State. Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay. I'm okay, I'm definitely ready for the weekend. This week has been rough and long, and I want to be with my kiddo, and I am actually working a lot this week, so it's not been the best week, but that's okay. We're almost to the weekend. You ladies need to buy some bear mace. Well, and so that's another thing that is sometimes helpful and sometimes not helpful. So another good example. Because the thing is, like, there's a lot of like protective devices and protective things, and that's the other thing. Like, women, good point, Kat. Women and people shouldn't have to go out and buy like alarms for their keychains and like the little like long like stabby things and like seatbelt breaker. Like there's all these things, like when you get those like defense keychain things that have all this stuff on it, has like pepper spray and has all this stuff. Nobody should have to be spending their money on that. We shouldn't be living in a place where people are so afraid to like walk inside from their car to their front door or from their job to their car at night. Hey, from Scotland. Hello, what part of Scotland? And have to carry mace on them. The solution is that people need to stop being horrible. We shouldn't have to continue to like ramp up our protective devices, and also they aren't always helpful. So every time I get home, I'm so tired. I'm so excited for the weekend. Yeah, I feel like we all are. This is again, this is where we're at. Everyone's tired. We're all running on empty. Get it? I just said that because that's the title of one of my favorite books. It's about childhood emotional neglect. So most of us are literally running on empty because we experience childhood emotional neglect, and we're not aware of it, or we're not aware of the what's it called, like the long-term effects of it, and we're all just out here trying to survive and trying to heal from abuse in adult relationships, and work is like eating us alive and doing all this stuff, and the news is just horrible. So everyone's freaking tired. Everyone's tired. I agree, but buy it, get trained, and be safe. Yeah, if only that was just the solution, and then we would all be fine. Did you see the lipstick with the safety button and drug test strips? No, I have not seen that one. Lindsay, do you ever make it to the shores of North Carolina? I used to live in North Carolina, but no, I do not, because I don't love traveling within the United States. I pretty much only visit my family. And it would have to be like the most amazing reason in the whole entire world to get me to travel to like pay money to fly on a plane to travel to another state. That's not to visit my family. I'm getting on a plane. I'm trying to leave the country. Can you share the name of the book in a post? I hate reading, but I'm trying to bring myself to read self-help books like that. Yes. 1 second here. TikTok, you're going down. You can look up my nostrils. So I'm about to put the name of the book on here. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, so you can write that down. And then also obviously for the people who are watching the replay. But I actually listened to it on Audible. I had Audible credits, so I went ahead and did that. And I listened to it. I have a 2-hour commute total there and back. Like 1 hour there, 1 hour back. And so I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I am an avid learner. I love learning. I'm always learning about stuff. And so that was one of the things that one of my trauma recovery coaches that I had recommended to me, because she was like digging through some stuff. And she's like, yeah, you definitely have childhood emotional neglect. And I was like, I definitely do. So I read the book on Audible, and then I ended up ordering a copy because I would like to, like, if I really like a book about abuse or neglect or trauma or mental health, I get it. And then a lot of times if I'm at home, I'll hold it up or I'll recommend it. And then I like to sometimes create content based on what I learned from it or tweet about it or whatever. So it's a really good book. And if you don't feel like you can read it, definitely try the Audible. We shouldn't have to buy things to keep us safe. Yeah, weapons do not equal safety. That's 100% true, unfortunately. I have a daughter, and the world for her scares me, but across the pond terrifies me, to be honest. Yeah, it's really weird. So I have a son. I have nieces, and I have nephews, and I'm very scared for all of them because I'm scared of what, like, I know what it was like growing up as a girl and being a woman, and it's horrible. And it's not all horrible, but like we've all been through stuff, all of us. And it really does scare me for like the little girls who are growing up right now. And I'm scared for my son. I'm scared for boys. And I am going to do everything that I can to make sure that he is not that kind of person. But it's a very scary place to be raising a child right now, period. But yes, across the pond, very scary right now. I'm always afraid a weapon will be turned on me. Yeah, that's the thing. And especially if someone's been, like, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but if someone's been watching you and they see you walking and they know what you have, they're going to be ready for it. And they're going to prevent you from even reaching for it, period. Hope you're having a good day. Lindsay, love your videos. You've helped me so much. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. Shoot, I forgot to message you last night about the book list. That's okay. I figured you got up something. I did remember it. It'll probably take me a little bit to get it because I have to get on Canva and figure out how to do it because I'm not good at making stuff, but it's definitely on my list to do that. So I will try my best. So anyway, what else, y'all? What else do you have on your minds? I am thinking. This week's podcast episode, which my podcast always gets published on Wednesdays. It's on iTunes and Spotify, as well as on YouTube. I always upload the videos onto YouTube. Was about how survivors lose their voice when they're in abusive relationships. And so I talk about some of the differences between how I would share things about my relationship when I was with someone who was, closed off but not abusive versus when I was with someone abusive, and the way that, the things that it was basically about how I would communicate with my mom. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely check that out. And I'm always open to your feedback and your comments if you do listen to the podcast. And let me know, like, if you could relate to it after you listen to it. You can send me a DM or you can comment. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment. Not everyone can afford or has the ability to just uproot their lives and more. Yeah, move. Yeah, 100%. I have court tomorrow with my next. She's trying to get custody of our daughter. Good luck. I obviously hope that it goes in your favor. I know that this is a really scary, yucky time for you. But I really do hope that it goes in your favor. My ex has a new supply that he found while we were still together. He had been seeing her for at least 7 months before I found out, trying to go no contact, but it's been hard. Yeah, and that is the reality of being with an abusive person like that. I'm saying that because not all abusive people are the same, but it's a very common thing. A lot of abusive people simply cannot be alone. So they typically have one or more people lined up. Mine also had someone lined up, not for 7 months, I don't think, but definitely had someone in their targets. I think they started like lining the person up like right before we broke up, and then made their move like maybe a week after we left. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's a very common thing. And so this is actually something that I wish that we were in a coaching session right now and we were in private, because this is one of the things that I get the most, is like trying to help people leave and come up with a plan to leave and stay gone, and trying to help people go no contact. And it's one of the things that people struggle with the most, because y'all get to a point, and I was the same way. So I didn't mean like we all, you get to a point where you're done, but then you're still not done. Because you're as long as they're still having access to you, you're still trauma bonded to them. Even if it's like slightly less than before and maybe you made it out, you're still stuck, you're still trapped. So what is holding you back from going no contact? If you feel comfortable sharing, this is like literally what I work with people. Like we talk through all of this, and I help you to be able to push that button. I love y'all. I hate to bid farewell for the night, but I have a little man that wants his mom to put the phone down. That's fair. He's my grandson and he's 3. Love y'all. Good night, and lots of prayers for calm and serenity for all that need it tonight. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you for acknowledging my comment. You're welcome. I try to read them all if possible. Sometimes it gets really hard, but we're doing good here. Took me 6 times at least. I have his daughter, so it's just way complicated. Yes. So when you have a child or children with someone, it is still possible to be no contact with them. You just have to commit to it. And I know that sounds like, I don't want it to sound like judgmental, like you're just not committed, because that's not how this works. But you have to be fully committed to not talking to him about literally anything except for facts about the children. Like, and often like, do it through a third party app, or, have everything right. Like, don't answer the phone ever. Don't have any phone conversations. Have it all in text or email. And if he's saying anything about anything besides, what time is the child being picked up? Can you bring her rain boots? Yes. See you tomorrow at 5. That's it. And then, don't look at his Facebook or Instagram. Don't look at the new supply. Don't look at any of that stuff. Don't get any of that knowledge, because you don't need it. And a lot of people will make excuses. And again, this is going to sound really judgmental. I did the same thing. We make excuses for why we still need to have none of this knowledge, or why we need to have these conversations, or why we whatever. But in the end of the day, you don't need to. Like, you think you do because you're still trauma bonded. But once you break it, then you realize that you really don't. And it's very hard to do. And I understand that, but that's like a huge part of course, keeping you in the abuse cycle. The court order makes it impossible to go completely no contact. So can you have the court order like a third party app and just say like, that's the only way we're going to, or like, oh my gosh, cat, I'm tired. For me, the hardest part is the financial part, and of course the trauma bond. Yeah, the financial part is very hard because a lot of times they'll leave you financially crippled. When you do leave, you have to start completely over, or you are seemingly unable to get out because of finances. That's a huge issue. And that's another thing that I do with people in my one-on-one coaching is try to come up with options that maybe you aren't able to see when you're in it. Or maybe you came up with an option or two and your abuser found out and told you that that was not an option for you. For example, my first instinct when I wanted to leave was to go and live with my son's dad, who lives up the street. He's my ex-husband. And I was like, if I need a safe place to go, which I do, I will take my son where he is safe first and foremost. Do I want to live with my ex-husband? Absolutely not. But does my son deserve safety over me being worried about where I'm going to live? Absolutely. And my abuser would always say, you're just going to go back to your ex. You're just going to go live with your ex. And it made me feel like, oh yeah, like I'm just taking a step back and I'm going to go live with my ex. And like, this is not a good thing for me. And it's because it's just going to confuse my son. Like that's what they would say to me. And, or, you can't go and live with him. Like, that's not going to work. You guys are going to just whatever they would do to like get me to do that. And the other night I talked about how at one point, and in fact, I just recorded a podcast episode about reverse hoovering. I actually escaped them. They were physically restraining me. And I ran barefoot out the back door of the house, out the back gate, and walked to his house barefoot. My son was there. I let myself in through the garage and made a little nest on the couch and was like, this is going to be awkward when I wake up in the morning. And I reverse hoovered myself because they were reverse hoovering me. And I went back because I was like, I talk about this a lot, how we continue to abuse ourselves after we've been conditioned by them with their abuse. The abuse continues in our own brains until we stop that cycle. And so, I went back because it was like, realistically, this isn't going to work. I can't just show up. My ex-husband's not going to say, sure, you can live with me since you're going through a breakup. Like, normal. Let's do this. And I convinced myself that that wasn't an option. But it was. When it was time for me to actually go, he wasn't at his house. He was actually gone for 3 months, but that is where I went. It wasn't safe for me to go there because my abuser knew where I was and would just wait outside for me to open the door to let the dogs out. I had to leave the state. I had to go and stay with my mom. And of course, not everyone has money for a plane ticket or gas money to get, 2,500 miles away. But I found ways to do that. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad about being stuck, because I was stuck too. But there's always going to be some kind of something that opens up. And so again, a lot of times a lot of times in my one-on-one coaching appointments, I will sit down and I will ask you all the questions and I will help you come up with as many different options as we possibly can to try to help get you out of that situation. Because financial abuse is absolutely real. Do you watch Dr. Ramani? You and Ramani are my safe havens. I don't watch Dr. Ramani. And in fact, I don't watch any abuse content anymore. Because that's not where I'm at in my healing. I will, like I said, I'll read a book sometimes. And I always stay up on Twitter. I hang around on Twitter with some people who are tweeting really awesome things, and I retweet their stuff, and I tweet my thoughts and feelings about abuse. But I no longer listen to abuse podcasts or, watch YouTube videos or anything like that. I just make them. But I have seen Ramani's stuff, and I think she's incredible and she's doing amazing things. And I am absolutely floored and honored to be put in the same sentence as Dr. Ramani. So thank you. Jennifer, all that information is on my website. You can go to thelindsaygoodman.com. So someone asked about coaching. And so if you're curious about coaching, you can see my schedule on there. You can see I have 4 different options for coaching, and you can see pricing and, availability, all that stuff. So thelindsaygoodman.com. Okay, I'm really behind here. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for asking. In fact, someone asked that on Facebook too. So that's just another example of how sometimes I feel like there are people who are watching and maybe have questions, but then they think it might be a dumb question or they're the only one who it applies to or something like that. And a lot of times there's someone else who has the same question. So don't hesitate to ask. He's a convicted sex offender, so I don't allow him around her and no visitation at this point. That's good. Wait, so if he's okay, I don't want this to sound rude, but if he's a convicted sex offender and he doesn't see her, then what's the contact for? I found out at 3 months pregnant, moved out shortly after, and he's been trying to keep it to pictures and been trying to keep it to pictures and videos of baby. Can you send it to someone else? Like, can you send an update to someone else and have them forward it on or something like that? Because that's actually like an ideal situation where this person he's a convicted sex offender. You don't have visitation. You really could just did the court say that you had to send that stuff? Because you could maybe ask if there's like a liaison through the court system who you can send it to, and they'll forward it on. That way you don't have to have any contact. Because as long as you're contacting him and he's responding to you, and I don't know what he's saying to you, you still have that possibility of him harming you, even if it doesn't seem like it's that bad. About to recommend this to my friend who is going through a rough time with her husband. That would be lovely. That's why I'm here, is to try to get this out to, like, you never know who needs this, and you never know like who could benefit from what myself and others are doing. The problem is, I have a friend right now who's like, I need my friend to come see you, but I can't get her to agree to it. And the problem is that until someone wants help and until someone gets to the point where they're able to admit, at least to a certain extent, where they're at, they won't reach out for this kind of help. It took me a long time to figure it out as well. And to be able to take steps towards healing and everything like that. And then the other thing is that I do have a lot of people who will meet with me once, maybe twice, and then they disappear. And what usually happens is that they haven't left yet. They're not ready to leave. And sometimes it can feel even worse to be working with me when you know you're not going to leave. Like, you're talking to me for validation, and that's fine. And I'm here to give you validation and support you, like, with whatever you need, but you're not ready to leave. You're not going to leave until you are ready. I can give you the tools, but at the end of the day, only you can use the tools, right? I can't come to your house and be like, get in the car, we're going shopping, like, I can't do that. I can't save you. So that's the problem. You have to keep that in mind. If you want to give her my website, my podcast, my information, please do. Just know that she might not do it. She might not want to do that. But I'm definitely here for her if she is ready. He won't use a third-party app, even though it's court-ordered. He admitted today to recording calls with my son. I have him blocked everywhere, but my texts to him are only about my son and factual. So if it's court-ordered, you need to talk to the court and tell the court that he's refusing to use a third-party app. And then the other thing is that you have to just completely block him on, you have him blocked on everything else. And if he's getting through to you on those things, on anything, just ignore him and only respond on the third-party app. So, because this is all a game. It's all a game. And he's trying to manipulate you and maneuver you off of that and get you off of that boundary that has been set in writing, because he thinks that he's above it, right? And so if you just keep him in that little corral and say, don't even say anything to him, but each time that he's trying to do something that's not the third-party app that was court-ordered, you just don't respond. And when it is in the third-party app, you respond, and that's it. My ex moved in with his girlfriend and her 21-year-old son. He has my son there. The 21-year-old is a sex offender, and he abused my son this summer. Yeah, that's very much not good. I'm so sorry about that. And is the court aware of that? Because obviously, it's just an airplane. Obviously that's not gonna work. Are you safe now? I am. Thank you. Trying to get closure, I'll never get it. Slowly learning, I'll never get it. So you do get closure. You can get closure. And this is one of the most amazing things. It's just not the closure that we think of when we think of breakups with healthy people. You have to give yourself the closure. And this is going to sound really cheesy, but the closure is their treatment of you, the way they treat you, the way they treat your child, the way they cheated on you, the way they had someone else lined up the second you left, the way that every time that you try to talk about a problem, they turned it on you. All of that is your closure. your knowledge that this is an abusive person is your closure. And so you just have to give it to yourself. I got closure. I have all the closure I need. In fact, I saw my abuser almost a week ago for the first time since I left them. And literally there was no reaction in my body. I just looked at them and was like, wow, that's just a poor person who's probably still really struggling. And I just went back to talking to my friend because I gave myself that closure. I didn't feel like I needed anything else from them. Of course, at first it was very painful because you're just like, what the hell? But you can give yourself that closure, and that really, really does help to heal. And again, I'm not trying to just like sell my coaching services. This is actually, I think, the most I've ever talked about my coaching services like in a live before. I like to mention it, but that's something that I can help you with. We can talk. I can help you get that closure and create that closure for yourself. That's definitely something that I can help you with. I actually took a class, YOV Trauma Informed because of Abuse, and got certified yesterday. Awesome. Congrats. It's all coming through the new girlfriend now. We have court March 14th on an emergency motion I filed in June. Block the new girlfriend. Don't get any information from her. Yeah, because the new girlfriend is basically a flying monkey. She's the go-between. She's not helping you unless she's leaving him and she's on your side. So definitely I would stay away from her at all costs. I love your vids. Hello, I love your vids. Thank you very much. I'm forgiving him for me, not him. Exactly. The whole thing about like you have to forgive your abuser, you have to forgive, blah blah blah. That's crap. It's literally up to the individual. You can forgive them or you can not forgive them. You are not required to forgive someone, especially, like when something happened in your childhood. You are not required to forgive those people and have a good relationship with those people. You are not required to do that. If it helps you to forgive them, go for it. I think it's really healthy to be able to let go of those things. But yes, absolutely. So glad you had a good reaction to seeing them. Yeah, me too. To be honest, I was like, okay, all right. Well, it was like seeing any random person. So I've done a lot of work, y'all. I've done a lot of work. A year ago, that would not have been my reaction. New girlfriend equals fake profiles. My block list is so long now. Just keep blocking. Don't read this stuff when she pops up. If you're getting a message from a random person's fake profile, just go ahead and block it. Like, again, don't read it. Just don't read it. That's really sad that that's her life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel sorry for her. For a long time, I felt like I was protecting others by staying with him. If he was hurting me, he wasn't hurting anyone else. Yeah, and that's also a very common reaction or response that we see in survivors. And at the end of the day, like, I struggled with the fact that someone else was being harmed after me. I knew that person, I don't know what they went through, but I knew that they were going to be harmed if they were in it for any amount of time, and it hurt me, and I was very upset, and I felt guilty and horrible. But I needed to be safe, and I needed my son to be safe. And a lot of people will say, like, it's your obligation to tell them, but like once that person is in their sights, it's too late. And that's just not how it works with abuse. Why do you think I feel worse being away from my abuser? Because you're in a bond. You're in a trauma bond. When you're in a trauma bond, you are being abused. This person treats you like absolute shit. And yet when they're away from you, you feel panicky, you feel sick. You're like obsessing over them. You're wondering what they're doing. Are they cheating on you? Are they talking to someone else? You feel like you can't function. You are in a trauma bond, and you have to break the trauma bond to be able to heal and move on. Wow, I had that same view. I'm glad I'm not feeling alone feeling that. Yeah, and and that's why I keep saying this. There's a million reasons why I create this content. But that's part of it, was that I felt like I was the only one who ever went through this, and I was the only one who felt this way. And I know a lot of other survivors feel the same way. And when I come on live and people are talking and sharing, there's gonna be other people who maybe it's not the exact same, but like, we're definitely not alone in this, right? Like, this stuff is happening everywhere. And it's not good. I really need some water. My throat is starting to hurt. So Maybe I'll take you up on coaching because it's been months and for some reason I just can't break away. So are you still with this person? I would love to be able to help you. Like I said, you can go to my website, lindsaygoodman.com. All the information is on there. There's different options depending on what your commitment level is, essentially. But yeah, that's what I'm here for. No, it's been no contact since August. Well, congrats. That's huge. That's a big, huge milestone. But yes, the fact that you're still feeling like so shitty, even without them, means that you're probably still trauma bonded to them and could stand to work through some stuff. To be able to free yourself from that feeling, because that, I mean, and that can last for a very long time. Okay. Oh goodness, I'm sorry, TikTok. Y'all are on a wild ride. No, I missed all that. Oh no, did it cut out? I apologize. TikTok, did it cut out? I will repeat myself. Or did you like pop out for a second? Yes. Okay. I don't remember what I said, but I was saying that being no contact since August is a very awesome thing. That's a huge milestone. So keep it up. And I'm saying, but yeah, the fact that you're still feeling like so shitty and you're saying that you feel worse without them tells me that you definitely, that you most likely are still trauma bonded to this person and that you could stand to have some help through this time. Because yeah, it can be pretty yucky and it can really linger. What we don't want, Ariane, I don't know if I pronounce it right. What we don't want is to have you thinking that you were better off with them, even though obviously you've maintained no contact since August. And then accidentally hoovering yourself back into it. Do you know what I'm saying? Appreciate your content. Thank you so much. So, do y'all know what no contact entails? I'm going to set TikTok down for a second. So, no contact doesn't just mean ignoring them. No contact means that you are blocking them on everything you can possibly block them on, and you are not looking at their social media profiles. So, realistically, I should not know anything about my abuser from, unfortunately I do, because there have been people who have given me information, but not very much at all, because typically what I'll do is, thank you, I really don't need to know that information. I know that you thought of me because you saw them or whatever. I don't need to know what they're doing. And then the next time they know not to tell me. But yeah, you're not looking at their profiles. You're not looking to see if they're seeing someone or if they're happy, they're better off without you, none of that stuff. And you're not getting information through third parties. You are neither telling people stuff that they will tell your abuser, and you are not getting information about your abuser. So if you had like a mutual friend and that person is coming and telling you, oh, they're seeing someone, oh, they broke up with that person, oh, I saw them at the bar, oh, I this and that, that's fueling your trauma bond. That is keeping you, it's keeping that, because so a trauma bond is literally an addiction to someone who's harming you. Not always. Anyway, we can go into that later on. But for the most part, when someone is trauma bonded, you are hooked to this up and down. It's an addiction. You're chemically addicted to them. You're constantly looking for that next high that they give you. And when you're getting information, if you still have even like slightly this much of the trauma bond left, you're getting that little kick. You're getting that little, like, I don't know, I really like chocolate. I really like coffee or whatever. And if I'm trying to quit caffeine, let's stick with coffee. If I'm trying to quit having caffeine in my life, because come to find out it's really messing with my sleep schedule or something like that, they're like, oh, I'll just have a black tea instead of a coffee. I'm still getting caffeine, right? Well, I'll just have a decaf. Well, there's still like trace amounts, and I drink decaf now, so that's why that was a really good example. There's still trace amounts in there, and I'm okay with that. That's what I'm going for right now. But in my example, the best thing for me to do would be to get all the coffee out of the house, not go to coffee shops, not go to tea parties, None of that stuff, because it's still going to fuel my trauma bond. And it can come back to bite you years later if you don't do the work to really, truly break the trauma bond and commit to that severing it so that it never comes back. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who, because I didn't know when I went no contact, I did not have them blocked at first. And so I think I have a whole podcast episode about, I don't know what it's called. I would like to look it up, but I can't right now. But it's about going no contact. I think it was like 1 year no contact. When I was 1 year no contact, I made a podcast episode and I talk about some of the mistakes that I made, the things that I learned from my own journey that I wanted to share with people who might be going through that now, so that you don't make that same mistake. You go ahead and block them, friend. You go ahead and block them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to know what they're doing. You don't need to, like, for me, I told myself that because they were still living in the house that we had a lease on together and that they had all of my stuff, and for a couple of weeks they still had my dogs, that I needed to know what they were doing. So I was still technically not no contact. I'm still going to claim no contact. At this point, yes, I'm over a year of no contact, but the day that I count as no contact technically was like, it's a gray area, because they still had access to me, even though I wasn't responding. Ignoring is not the same as no contact. Do not make the same mistake as I did. We have a court ordered no contact order because he was charged with a felony for threatening to kill me, but I still look at his profile and pictures. I'm so happy for you that you have the court ordered no contact and that the court took you seriously. That's amazing. And he was charged with a felony. That is incredible. And without, I don't know, sometimes like it sounds so shitty when someone's like, you are so lucky, but you are one of the lucky ones that you have that, you had that proof and you were taken seriously. And that is incredible. And I'm so happy for you. And I wish that for all of us. I wish we all had that. I really, 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 I beseech you to block them and keep them blocked. And don't look at his profile pictures. It's just harming you. I promise you. It's just harming you. It's just harming you. Thanks for the insight, because I have started to regret leaving him. He's blocked and nobody tells me about him. That's so good. Again, another lucky, like really awesome, really, really awesome situation. And if you're not having those things and you're like, oh shoot, I'm not the lucky one, I feel like crap because she's not telling me I'm the lucky one, that's okay. That's okay. You know, we're all on a different journey and I don't want anyone comparing themselves. I made a lot of mistakes, y'all. I made a lot of mistakes, and that's what I'm here for. That's why I try to be so honest, because if I come out here and be like, yeah, I was perfect, I just blocked them and I was fine. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. And that's not going to help anybody. So please, if I haven't told you that you're one of the lucky ones, hopefully one time we will, but like, you know, don't compare yourself to other people's stories. But that's a really awesome, huge thing that you're doing, Ariane. But what's happening to you right now when you're saying, I regret leaving him, is again, the trauma bond, and you're having euphoric recall. And that happens when our brain has, like, our brains will play tricks on us. For me, it was, I left in October, and Christmas time, I started to have euphoric recall because Christmases were usually pretty good for us. Christmases were nice times. They were calm. My abuser would give gifts, was usually in a better mood. And, you know, that's also done for a reason. It's so that, like, they give you the good times sprinkled in with the bad times so that, one, you won't leave or figure it out, because if there's good times sprinkled in there, you're getting confused all the time. And two, so that if you do leave, you will have euphoric recall and hopefully you'll reach out to them, right? And then they can ensnare you again, and then they can abuse you even worse than before because you chose to come back to them. So you're basically consenting to their treatment. And if you try to complain, well, you came back, right? So I promise you, if you went to the extent of blocking him and going no contact and getting away from him, you have no reason to regret that, and you're doing an incredible job staying away from him. Do you think you can help with individual coaching? Yes, as Kat said, the link is in my bio. I have, you know, my page like talks about sort of what I was going through and what called me to do this and all of that stuff. And it has, you know, again, my availability, pricing, different package options, things like that. But the thing is, and I want to remind people of this too, like my niche and my main passion is helping people get out of abusive relationships and heal from them, period. I especially love working with queer folks as a queer person. but you don't have to be queer. And it also doesn't have to be abuse related. I am certified in trauma recovery. So it can be childhood trauma. It can be, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't say anything. There are going to be some things that are out of my scope. I don't work with people who are actively suicidal or who are, like, for example, if you are, well, if there's a situation that I can't work with, I will let you know, and I will absolutely refer you to someone else. But, yeah, I mean, there's a wide variety of things that I can work with people on. A lot of people will message me and ask, like, I'm going through this. Is this something we can work on? And I'm like, absolutely. If it's not, I'll give you hopefully some resources. I know, I just still miss him. Euphoric recall, that's definitely what I did. Where do I learn about all this stuff? I mean, you can just look up euphoric recall. I don't know if that will come up, but the best thing is obviously like find trusted creators. Like there are a lot of people out here talking about abuse who like, lived experience is huge, but you have to be careful who you're learning these things from. But Dr. Ramani, I don't know. I also need to come up with someone asked me to do like a book thing. I need to do a PDF of the people that I feel the most trust for and the most safe with. And it might not be the same for you, but at least some suggestions to help you through that. Thanks, and you're doing amazing too. My ex discouraged me from this sales job and I went to interview. Oh, good job. That's awesome. Yeah, when we can take back those things that they took from us and, discouraged us from and told us we couldn't do, that's an incredible move. I'm alive. I'm lucky, but the courts here are some of the worst in the country. He went to prison for strangling me pregnant with our son, and they still don't even want to hear about any of that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you're in the South. I feel like I'm from the North. I'm from a small town in the North, and the person who harmed me when I was 18 got 1 year of probation, and I almost died. And, they dropped his weapon charge on a plea deal, and he didn't go to jail. But his best friend wrote a bad check and spent years in jail. Like, it's twisted. And so, unfortunately, this is the world we live in. It's backwards. It's twisted. Christmas was when my abuser tried to kill me, so holidays are really hard. Yeah, holidays are really hard for a lot of people. It can be really yucky, for sure. Do you work with teenagers who have been abused and through trauma? They have to be 18 years old. I cannot work with minors. Not South, New Hampshire. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about the other person who was in here that was from North Carolina, but yes, you did say North Hampshire. I remember that. Yeah, there's no excuse for that. Like, I feel like the North, no offense to everyone in the South, I feel like the North should have, like, we have, like, well, the South has big cities too, but, like, a lot of times, like, you feel like you would be safer with these kinds of things. Like, they're a little bit more advanced and they're like, whatever, because the South is still like the good old South in some places. But, yeah, it's just twisted. Do you take insurance? That's a really good question. At this point, I do not. We are not covered under insurance. I think it's something that the association, I'm certified through the International Association of Trauma Recovery Coaching. And that's something that they're working on for the future. So as soon as that happens, I will let you all know if that's something that they say, hey, everyone, you can start taking clients through insurance. But unfortunately right now, that's not something that we are allowed to do. In New Hampshire, if you steal a pair of shoes, you go to jail for a year or 3. Abuse gets swept under the rug. Our stats are scary. Yeah, I feel like that's just our country in general. Sometimes we get someone who's really lucky and someone took them seriously, but yeah. I just write 4 hills that are in the house now to change things, but who knows if they'll pass. Oh, you wrote 4 bills. Okay, sorry. I had to translate that. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate all of you too. He always made me feel like it was my fault. That is what they do. If it's your fault, there's nothing to do with them, right? I definitely recommend, and again, I always feels weird to me to be like tooting my own horn and like promoting my content, but my podcast has some really relatable stuff. So, there's still like a lot of education in there. I talk, like, what I do a lot of times is talk about something that I experienced and then explain the why and what it means and how to recover from those things. So I do that a lot. If you can't afford coaching, my podcast is a great place, and you can listen in your car and pretend that I'm actually talking to you. And also, if you're queer, I feel like a lot of times in my lives, I don't have a lot of queer people. If you don't know this, so I am queer. And before I started talking about abuse, I was publicly sharing about my relationship with my abuser. I had about 18,000 followers on Instagram and like 32,000 on TikTok. So most people who followed me were queer. And I made a lot of content about being queer. And now I try to keep that included in there. I try to make it fairly obvious that I am a queer person because I want queer people to see my content and have a safe place to come in here and talk to me, and feel seen by me. But a lot of times when I'm in my lives, it's not queer folks. But if you are queer, I have a support group that's one Saturday a month with another queer a friend of mine, just to offer that safe sort of recovery group type thing for queer people who might not have any other safe space like that. So you're an angel. I really love these lives. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I grew up in Cairo, Michigan, had to leave because of him. I feel you. I understand. I'm glad that you were able to leave. I love how interactive and sweet you are. It makes me feel so safe here. Oh, thank you. I try. I try to really so like I have a fairly large platform. Like I'm not huge, I'm not famous or anything. There's a lot of people that follow me. I don't know how many of them are like real. But my lives are usually smaller and I like that. And this is something that I've talked to my friend Kat about, who, by the way, if you don't know Kat, she's there, sorry, pretty much always in my TikTok. They're always on my TikTok. And not always, what am I saying? Kat, I'm sorry. They're often on my TikTok and they're a very dear friend of mine. And they are so supportive. And what was I going to say? Interactive. Oh, and I've talked to Kat about this, is that we love having like a small girl, like I would say Kat, what, like maybe 15 tops. And right now it's a little bit weird because I have Facebook and my brain's just not working today. Facebook and YouTube open, and I have TikTok open. So I'm pulling comments from like multiple places, but I desperately don't want to lose like the small, like we're all in a room together feel that I have when I'm in my live. So I do appreciate that. And that's my goal, is for that I can read most, if not all, comments, and Kat will catch a lot of comments. So sometimes I'm able to not answer them if they're like frequently asked questions and things like that. But I do try to make sure that everyone is seen in here because I know what it feels like to not be seen. When did you start your YouTube? I made the channel like a while ago, but I only started like really posting on it maybe like a couple of months ago. Abuse is abuse no matter what your sexual preferences is. It's so hard when it's not male and female because people don't acknowledge it because of stigmas. We need a break. Yes. I think I agree with you. I'm not 100% sure if I understood what you were saying there. My abuser is currently threatening to file a restraining order against me for speaking out. And ironically, I hope the system being so bad works against her. Hold on. My brain is absolutely... I can't talk. I've been stuttering this whole time. I'm starting to crash. I did fall asleep right before I came out here, so I think I've done a pretty good job considering that my brain is not working. My abuser is currently threatening to file a restraining order against me for speaking out, and ironically, I hope the system being so bad works against her. Oh, yeah, okay. No, that does make sense. Hey, how's it going? Welcome in. Definitely love the small lives. It helps keep it intimate and helps people have a safe space to talk. I agree. And again, Kat does a really good job of yeeting the trolls and the people who are just in here causing problems. And so especially on TikTok where Kat has all the power, we keep it nice and safe and simple. And also like I've seen like creators that have like huge, like, I don't know, hundreds of people in their lives. And if I click on their live, I immediately leave because they're literally just like comment, like you can't read anything. You can't have a conversation. And due to the nature of what we're talking about, I want to be able to have conversations and I want to be able to like share stories or share education without missing 500 comments and having people just feel like they're not welcome here. Obviously, I don't have control over that. If my profile just grows and that happens, that will make me kind of sad on the, on that level. But eating is my favorite thing to do. I know it must feel so just like satisfying to be like, yeet. I don't trust the system, had it fail me, and was almost kidnapped anyways. Yes, the system failed me as well when I was 18. And I do believe that contributed to me not calling the police on my abuser, the one that I mainly, am sharing stories about in terms of my experience. I was 18 too. Yeah, definitely failed me. My family also failed me. So I'm just going to put that out there. I had no support. No one was looking out for me. Had my dad been alive, he would have been like, we're taking this guy all the way through this thing. We're like, we didn't have any money, but my dad would have been by me. Like, we're going to every court appearance. We're going to speak. We're going to talk about this. This is effed up. This guy deserves to rot in jail. Like, my dad would have had me taken care of, but I was all by myself and didn't know how to manage the court system. And again, the guy got off. In fact, he tried to add me on Facebook probably in like 2016. So like this happened in 2006. And I was like, I was married by then. And I told my husband at the time, and I was like, the audacity, like in what world do you think you almost kill someone that she's going to add you back on Facebook? Of course I blocked him because I didn't realize he had Facebook. But anyway, it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, AM Jackets. Just kidding. But my main goal is to keep this a safe space for everyone. Yes, and I so appreciate you, and I just really enjoy having you in here and hanging out with you, and that you support the mission, which is a safe space and, education and validation and support for people. So the system and most people who don't understand, I just don't trust. I don't either. And, I do spend a lot of time trying to educate, but there are people who are not going to be educated about this. They don't want to. They will make excuses for everything. And, we don't have time for those people. It's unfortunate. They're going to live in their filth, and we are not. I feel even if I had taken him to court, he would have got out and killed me. That's why I keep it out of court. Yeah, that's 100% valid, is because, again, mine never went to jail, and his best friend went to jail for writing bad checks. So it's so twisted. Thank you for providing a safe space for these conversations. Yes, thank you for being here. What's the best way to reach out to you individually if you're open to that? So I don't do, so a lot of people, this is really unfortunate. I get DMs all the time, every day. I even get emails, and I can't read and respond. Like, I get paragraphs and I cannot read and respond to that. Nobody cares about your birthday, ugly ass hoe. Okay, Iris, you are not welcome here, and you are being blocked. Thank you. Idiot. I care about your birthday, so happy birthday. I'll just say it again. Yeah, so I don't do I can't have conversations with everyone in DMs and stuff like that, unfortunately. I wish that I could. It's literally impossible to do that. And also I do have a child, and I do have all these, other things that I do besides this. So, but if you want to have, this sounds, I hate saying this, but if you want to book an appointment with me, you can do that. If not, unfortunately, individually, I can't. But whenever I'm live, I'm always happy to hang out with all of you and answer your questions and do whatever I can to help you out that way. So with that, Jesus, that was random. Honestly, I just feel so bad for people who act like that, because they just must be hurting. You know what I'm saying? Completely makes sense. Thank you, Anna, for saying that, because I always feel so bad when I'm like, I cannot have conversations with you in my DMs, but you can pay me, because that feels so shitty. Because if I could, I would literally give all of you so much one-on-one attention, and I would fix all your lives. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. It was easier when I was smaller and didn't have so many DMs coming in all the time and comments. I wish I could respond to every single comment I get, and I try really hard. But when videos blow up, it's I'll get to the first 20, and then I'm like, bye. I wish I could respond, but I can't do it. Kat says happy birthday to whoever's birthday it is. Thank you. But yeah, Anna, thank you for understanding. I always just feel so bad saying that. But yes, if you want and you need one-on-one help and you feel comfortable with me and you feel safe with me, book an appointment with me because that's the best way to do it. Unfortunately, I don't even get a chance to like read all of my DMs, which just makes me feel so bad. But yeah, I have to go back to work. So thank you all for hanging out with me. I really appreciate all of you and all of your time hanging out with me and your trust in me. And also every single one of you that's in here right now or has been in here, or if you are watching this later, I just want to thank you all. Besides the birthday a-hole, the not birthday a-hole, person who said the birthday thing, for helping me create and maintain a safe space. I really appreciate all of you. And it just really makes me enjoy this even more, coming live and hanging out with all of you and getting to know you. So low-key didn't even know that was an option. So doing that now. Okay, great. All right. On that note, because I still have a couple minutes here, again, LGBTQ support group this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. So if that's you, all the links are in all of my bios, all the information you can find in my bio. That is with Trey De La Torre. Let me give him a little tag here for my people who are on. Oh, what is it, Kat? I was like, yo _ Trey, right? I messed up last time. So I have a support group with him. That is this Saturday. We have them once a month. So that's an option. If you're queer, please be queer if you come to that, because that's the whole point of the thing, is that it's a safe space with no judgment. So that is what that is. And then also, if you are here and you're hanging out and you felt really safe with me, which is my goal for everyone, hopefully, and you want to book an appointment with me, whether it's just one for validation and you just want to see if I'm a good fit for you, or if you want to book, I just created a 6-week ongoing package, which will save you a little bit of money if you do it that way. But if you want to commit to that and you want to work with me and you're like, no, I feel really comfortable with you, that's an option too. So you can go to my website, thelindsaygoodman.com. Again, the link is in all of my bios. Click on the coaching tab and see if you can find a time that works for both of us and book it. And I will be there and I will see you there and I will help you. So yeah, that's what I'm here for. So, yes. So Anna, I will hopefully, if you feel like it will work for you, I will look forward to an email from you saying that you booked it. So I would love to work with you. Got to take care of yourself. We understand. Thank you so much. Y'all are great. Love you, Kat and Lindsay. Thanks for taking your time with us. Yes. Thank you. I love when people thank Kat too, because Kat really does, like, they just like run the show, kind of behind the scenes, but, so appreciate them. And they've been with me through everything. They've been with me since I was even with my abuser. So we love Kat. So, I think so. Yep. Done and done. Thank you so much. Okay, Anna, I will look forward to talking with you again soon, and I will see you all later. Take care. Drink some water. Bye, y'all. How do we book the massage again? I'm sorry, what? All right, I'm already off of TikTok. I have a minute here, but I'm trying to figure out if I'm trying to make sure that I don't need to answer this question. Thank you all. I'm going to go paint some canvases now and hope I wake up without a fever tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for hanging out. And I hope that you also wake up without a fever tomorrow. I hope you feel better. I'm waiting to see how do we book the massage again? I don't do massage. So I'm just trying to see if Cherry clarifies, and then I'll pop off here. So. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Didn't you say you could book a session or something? Yeah. So on my website, thelindsaygoodman.com, you can click on the coaching tab and it'll give you information. So this is for, I don't know if you just popped in here or what, it's for one-on-one trauma recovery coaching. I work with people who are in abusive relationships and need to get out, or just toxic, unhealthy relationships. It doesn't have to be abusive, but we can work through that, work through healing, getting you out, giving you, if you're a troll, because if it was for a full body massage, you live in another state, I guarantee it. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you all. Have a good night.